Nicola, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
How did you get into the fenestration world?
Well, I started my life at university. I did a civil engineering degree. I went away travelling for a few months, and my dad at the time owned a company called SGO in Glasgow. It was part of the SGO network in the UK. So, on return from travelling, I went in to help him for a few months, and that few months ended into years. And I think because of the engineering background that I had, certainly the sort of flair for drawings and doing customized work, it really appealed to me and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed, the interaction with customers. And I thought, this isn't too bad a business to be in. And that's how I kind of stayed there for the time that I did.
Right. So, SGO, what does that stand for?
So SGO stands for Stained Glass Overlay. I don't
Right.
know if you know the background about SGO, and it's actually quite poignant this year because it's 50 years since SGO formed or
Right.
originated. It started as a small company. There was two people from America who came over and visited Winchester Cathedral, saw all the magnificent stained glass, and wanted to try and put that into a market that could be sold on a more economic level compared to what traditional stained glass, costs. And that's where SGO started from. It was based in America, and then there was a UK franchise, of which I think at one point there was about 14. My
Right.
dad owned SGO in Glasgow, and obviously that's where I started my career. Um, by the end of my time with SGO Glasgow, there was only three franchises. I think possibly, people were getting maybe older at the time and they maybe just didn't pass down the business. Certainly with our family, my dad took not well, and it was just a kind of good stopping point, if you like, in terms
Yeah.
of, the business. But at that point, I then decided that I still wanted to stay in the industry, and I set up House of Glass, Scotland, and we were based in Hamilton, in South Lanarkshire, and that was in 2010. So I started my career in 2001 with SGO, and then carried that right through to 2010 with House of Glass, and that's where I've been ever since. So I'm nearly, what's that, 25 years in this
Right.
industry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't look it. You don't look
Oh,
it.
thank you.
That's so. I think in SEO as well. Forest of Dean is probably the one that was closest to me.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. I think, if memory serves, was Angela, I think, that might have owned Forest of Dean.
Right.
Yes, that's very true. Yep.
And you say there was three left.
Yeah. Three left. So that was Glasgow, Forest of Dean, and Devon were the three studios that were left.
Right.
So we were all kind of called studios. And every year there was a conference, and at that conference, each studio, well, there was a trophy, if you like, for the best studio. I never got to
Right.
go on these nice conferences because obviously that was my dad that got to do the nice parts of the
Someone has to
company.
stay
I
behind and
just work
make
in the
glass.
background. So yeah, they went lovely places as well.
So, what did the business look like when you joined compared to what you created with
In,
House
ter-
of Glass?
in terms of SGO to
Yeah,
House of Glass.
yeah,
Okay, so SGO was very much, I suppose, maybe dictated through the SGO franchise as
right,
to what films, bevels, etc. that you could use, because we had, specific bespoke brochures and designs that we used. With House of Glass, that was obviously a bit more kind of free range, and from that we developed different products, etc., that we added to our collection, because stained glass overlay is very much lead film bevels, but as time has evolved and more kind of modern approaches have become apparent, sandblasting, painting, fusion, we added to our list that we could produce. So nowadays things are maybe a bit more kind of bespoke, a bit more streamlined. Back in the SGO days, it was very much like stained glass overlay, which was lead and films, beveling as well. Over the years, that has changed and it has progressed with time. So we now have sandblasting, fusion tiles, painted glass. Just over time things have maybe changed, modernized, but ultimately the stained glass part is still very, very popular. It's just that designs have maybe taken on a different look. So where you used to get a lot more sort of traditional styled glasses, we now can incorporate a lot more modern elements into these traditional designs, and we have lots of new like products like in terms of films, etc., and bevels that we can use to enhance those designs that we once created.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, did you? I'm just sort of trying to picture the product. So, did you supply a full double glazed unit? I know it was single glazed where it was single glazed, but
Yeah.
for the fenestration industry, a lot of it's double glazed. Did you provide the full unit, or were you just providing the pane that they were then making
No, no,
specifically?
no, no. So we supplied the full double glazed unit. So very typically, you have two panes, obviously, or three if it's triple glazed. But very typically, the outside pane, which is the pane that's in a door or a window or a hall window or a ceiling panel. I mean, we've done work for pubs, clubs, restaurants, but and then the backing pane would be an obscure or another clear, which makes
Yeah.
up the double glazed unit. So we tend to do all the leaded work on one pane, whether that's on a piece of clear glass or obscure glass, and then we make it into a double glazed or a triple glazed unit.
What made you start House of Glass?
I think for me, I had invested quite a lot of time in SGO and in the business, and I saw the way that the business ran, and I really enjoyed my work. I really enjoyed the design element. I really enjoyed the interaction with customers. I loved that. And I suppose for me, setting up House of Glass was to sort of maybe like build on that side of it. So we now do have a really nice studio, and we offer people to come in and customize and bespoke designs, and we take them through a complete design process. It's not just something out of a brochure. We a bit like maybe buying a kitchen or a bathroom. People are really investing in a product,
Yeah.
so we had to have the correct setup, and I think that's the side of it for me that I really enjoyed, was the design element. Maybe that's from my kind of engineering background, that I loved doing that side of it, and I do enjoy seeing the end product and the customers being ultimately happy, albeit I don't always get to see the final installation, because we do deal a lot with the trade. So the trade get to see Mr. and Mrs. Smith be really happy with their, I don't know, Highland cow or whatever it may be, on that particular occasion. But certainly the design process and the drawings and picking of the colours, and tweaking elements of the design, that's what I really enjoy. And that's probably what I've built House of Glass on over the years.
No, that's interesting because back a while ago now, I used to sell double glazing, and I
Right.
originate. My dad's got an installation company with his brother,
Right.
and it's sort of where I originated from. But
Right.
a lot of the times, we were actually, we were selling engineered doors
Yes.
when composite doors were just, sort of just coming in.
Yes.
So we always had that element. But one of the things that stood out for me is how many custom pieces of
Yeah.
stained glass that we actually had made,
Yeah.
and it was getting a price, and we were sort of in the position where we didn't like to say no, and we didn't
Yeah.
have to say no because
Yeah.
we knew that we could find people that could make things,
That
and,
could
and
do
you were
that.
sort of part of that,
Yeah, of
that
course.
process. So I see how valuable that is, and
Yeah.
that it's still in a time where companies have spent a lot of time and money trying to get things efficient, shall we say,
Yes.
so cost effective wherever
Yes.
possible, and it means printing the same design 50,000 times or however it
Yeah.
is. So
Yeah.
it's really nice to see that there's still people like you in
The
the industry
customized and
and
bespoke.
willing to go down that
Yeah.
route, because I think the industry wants to follow cars, but you're
Yeah.
making bespoke
Yeah.
cars or
Yeah.
furniture to
Yeah.
go in those. So it's nice to see, but I definitely saw it firsthand,
Yeah.
how there was just those scenarios where it wouldn't fit everyone's budget,
No.
but then
No.
ultimately it probably wasn't that much more to have stained
Yeah.
glass than it was to have some of the satin finishes or
Absolutely.
etched glass.
Absolutely. And
So
I think that is the thing, isn't it? People need windows, people need doors, they need glass to go in those windows and in those doors. Do they need decorative? Not necessarily. but do you want to have the same as your neighbour? Not really. I certainly don't. So I think, being able to offer a service where you can customise and where you can make it your own and choose your colours, there's definitely a market there for it. And, particularly with like doors and side panels and top lights, people want to be different from everybody else on the street. And I think as well, like, it's your main eye-catching feature of a house, isn't it?
Yeah.
So people like to go, oh yeah, that one with a nice sunburst, or that one, oh yeah, with a nice roses, whatever, you prefer yourself. And then that then leads on to other projects in the house, whether it be maybe a painted splashback. We do that in kitchens. It's lovely if you get like a nice feature window and you can, really make it something quite spectacular because, the scale and the size of it. But ultimately, your front door, the entrance to your home is the main eye-catching feature, and you want to do something that you love and you turn up to every day. I mean, the design I have in my front door, when I got it installed, my neighbours were all a bit like, whoa. And it is Marmite, you either love it or you hate it. I love it.
Yeah, that's
obviously.
the main thing.
My husband didn't get a say in it.
Classic.
Whatever I like, it's my bag.
Plus, I'm guessing you made it as well.
Yeah.
So you're still hands-on, you're still manufacturing?
I don't do as much in the actual factory because obviously I do everything else. I do all the design work. I do all the work with the customers coming in, choosing colours, tweaking designs. But the actual manufacturing process, no, I have guys in the factory that do that for us.
But your one you had to do, so you could say I made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. No, I like that.
Yeah, which is great. I still feel like I made it. I feel, I try with the majority of the panels that we do because we are bespoke, we are custom. I do try to see these projects through from start to finish because I like to take, photographs in the workshop. But again, they never look the same as to what they do when they're installed in a door or in a window or, we did a panel for a bar in a restaurant, and it just, after they backlit it, it just looked spectacular. It was awesome. Same as we've done panels in churches in our overlay method, because again, with heating nowadays and the cost of fuel and electricity and gas, etc., everybody's trying to insulate not just their homes but their workplaces. So this particular church that we did work for, we did, I think it was about 11 different windows, all with different saints, which, again, for the church, it was outstanding. And we then got repeat work from that. There's another part of this church, which I'm hoping might come off as a job as well. But it's great when you get projects like that. And, the congregation, they've been part of it because, some people sponsor windows, etc. as well. And it helps with the, the church funds. And they just look amazing. They really do. The SGO concept is a very clever concept in what you can do with modern products and modern techniques. I use modern. I know I'm saying SGO is like 50 years old, but in my terms, that's still quite modern.
Yeah.
I like to think. So it's amazing what you can achieve with the products that we have available nowadays. And, for example, some of our suppliers like Regalead, for example, they're very innovative in what they do and the products that they produce and supply, and it's great to be part of that.
No, I think it's really important what you do, and I'm thinking back to, I remember customers literally drawing out. There was a few artists between that we had, and they would draw and color, anything you want. And I remember those conversations, sat with the couples, and we'd have a brochure and say, pick any of those, and they go, any, and then can we tweak it? Yes, you can, but now we're going on to bespoke. Basically, we've got to tweak it, or if you draw it from scratch, we can make it. And some beautiful designs came out of that, and it was just so nice to be able to supply them and make them, give them exactly what they wanted.
Absolutely. And I think, the double glazing industry, this is where it's sometimes a little bit tricky in that salesmen maybe don't necessarily appreciate what exactly you can achieve or you can have. And, very typically a salesman just wants to get in, sell the job and get back out. But you will get those customers that are adamant that they want something special. And I think when salesmen realise what can be achieved and then they engage with us and we then take over that process for them because, the salesman's on to the next job by that point, which is absolutely fine for us. We're totally happy to take that over because that's our passion and that's what we enjoy doing, and we can offer, the end customer exactly what they want,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, which is then great for the installer, the double glazing partners that are maybe doing work with them, and everybody's happy, I suppose, at the end of the day.
Actually, no, you're right as well, because just the fact that we were able to come in and say, yes, it's an option, you can
Yeah,
have it. Let's
yeah,
just double check that, the budget's there and everything. Right, we've crossed that bridge. But,
absolutely.
even if they didn't go down that route, I think just being able to say, like, you're interested,
Yeah,
exactly like you say, there were some people that just say, no, can't do that, no, can't do that. And
yeah,
that's not what people
no,
want to hear. They want to say, yes, you can do
can do
that.
it.
I'm going to need to get a price and it's
Yeah,
going to take an extra day or so, but let's do it. Let's work it out. And then you can tell me if it's feasible.
yeah,
And that's what they wanted to know because, like you say, it's important to them. A door is, I used to separate it out. You could install windows and doors in the whole house. The front door needs some
oh
thought.
yeah,
You need to sleep on it. You need to make sure you get this right
absolutely.
because you don't do this very often.
Yeah,
Most people can quite easily say, I want that window to open on that side
yeah,
and that window to open up there and that color, that's fine.
and
But
that's it
the
done.
door, there were so many elements. And I just remember going to see so many customers taking glass colors back. What color do you want? And like you
Yeah,
say, when you start lighting them up,
yeah,
and I was almost sort of showing them films and colors because if they had a certain door, I said it's going to look different to you to the
yes,
outside. So we were testing that, and then the customers that would have, say, a caravan on their drive. So
yeah,
it was sort of just factoring in the fact if that's going to be there all the
all the
time,
time.
that's blocking
Yeah,
some of the light. So is that the color you
absolutely.
want coming through?
Yeah,
And it was those details that mattered, I
yeah,
thought.
and I mean, again, it's like things, windows on sides of houses, and you're maybe looking out onto a brick wall.
Yeah.
Well, you want to do something, don't you, that you're not looking out onto a brick wall anymore. So if you can create something that you absolutely love, and again, it's like in my house at home, I have a couple of different windows, and it's really nice when you come down in the morning, on that one day in the year when we get some sunshine, and you have all the different kind of prism effects onto the floor, and the sun's beating through the window, and it's lovely. It's really nice. And I think a lot of people are like that. They want to have something that maybe just kind of puts a smile on their face in the morning, in these dreek mornings that we have.
So what does you sort of mentioned there that you're not making as much glass as you'd like to, but
Yeah.
what does the business look like today?
It's exciting times for House of Glass. We've recently become part of the Regalead group. So we're now starting a new chapter with them. So Regalead are a very well known and established brand in our industry, and I've always highly respected the product that they produce, that we use as part of our components, to manufacture our stained glass, overlay, bevel work. And certainly with, their recent project of engineered doors, I think our skill set and abilities can really enhance this product. And that's what we hope to give the final customer. We hope to give them a product where they have these fabulous doors, but they also have the custom and bespoke glass that can make them stand alone from other competitors.
Sounds very exciting, and it makes perfect sense with them being a supplier for
Absolutely. And
yeah.
they already have the sales and marketing, which we lack in our business. We're not very good at that kind of side of it. So Regalead are so well known and such a fabulous brand, everything that they're building. I think what we do will only enhance that.
So Nicola, that's quite a journey.
Yeah.
There's
Did you
three.
need highs or lows? That was one thing
Yeah.
that they did.
So there's three questions now. Here we go.
Yeah.
So in all of that journey, is there a low point that sticks out for you?
A low point. Probably like most people nowadays, unfortunately, COVID for me. And it wasn't, I know everybody in industry will have been affected. I probably took it a bit personally in that, we are a small team.
Mm,
So the guys that work for me are like family.
yeah.
And we had no business. We had literally had to close down like most people did. We had nothing coming in. So ultimately, I couldn't afford not to put my guys, on anything but furlough. And that was really quite heartbreaking because the guys that I've had working for me have been with me a long time. And, at that point, you're thinking, am I going to come back from this? What's it going to look like? Are we going to be able to produce, manufacture? We just did not know what was going to happen. And it was just the most demoralizing and heartbreaking time that I think I hope that I'll ever have in business.
Yeah, I think you're right there. A lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You know.
Flip side, is there a high point that's except for you?
So with the products and the designs that we do, there's numerous high points for me because depending on designs that we've created over the years. But one of them that really stands out for me, and this may sound a bit odd in what I'm going to tell you here, is I got an inquiry from a customer who had a blind customer and they wanted to come in to see the product, right?
Right.
And I thought, wow, okay, what am I going to do here? And what evolved from that was that this lady wanted to have one of her dogs replicated in stained glass overlay for her front door. I don't ever forget the name of the dog. It was Sapphire, was what she was called. And you know, it was heartbreaking and both emotionally amazing at the same time because that lady came in and we had worked from a photograph and we were beyond specific in what we did. And she came in and she actually felt the design and she obviously could recognize the dog from what we had created. And I don't think I'll ever experience something like that again. But she left and I was really emotional because it was just such, for her, such a big thing. But for me, because I really didn't know how that interaction was going to go. And, obviously, I think she had some visibility, so maybe she could see different colours, but it was more the fact because of the way the lead is that she could actually, trace round with her fingers. And it was phenomenal. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Last question.
Okay.
If you had to spend 2 weeks on a desert island with someone from the fenestration world, who would it be?
Oh my goodness.
Hard one.
That's a good question. On a desert island, right, okay. I think I would have to say Guy Hubble from Regalead. Wow. I know. 2 weeks on a desert island with Guy, you're never going to be bored.
No,
are
that's
you?
True. No.
You're always going to have chat. There's always going to be something. And I think, where there's a guy, there's always a way. That's what I always think about Guy as well. And yeah, I mean, a desert island, I'm going to be able just to go somewhere secluded and not have to listen to him all the time. So I can turn him off for a bit as well. So yeah, I think that would be my choice.
Brilliant. Nicola, thank you very much for your time today.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Open invitation, so we'll see how we get on. But you're welcome back anytime. But thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Really good. Thank you.